Leo is an oddly divisive character because there are a lot of people who feel that she's one thing, and then a bunch of people who seem to think that he's pretty much the opposite. And I'm talking, of course, about Leo's position in the tier list. If you go back and look at early Season 1 stuff, there are a lot of videos that talk about this character being very high tier. One of the first character guides that I ever made was on Leo, and it got a lot of views, I think, specifically because people were expecting this character to turn out to be one of the best characters in this game. But then nobody plays Leo. So what gives? Did everybody overestimate the character, or is there some other reason the community seems to not respond to this design? I want to talk about that and then move on to a couple of the reasons I think the character is very cool, talk about some of the best moves and so on. Now, I think the main reason people don't want to play Leo has to do with that general frustration with her combo game. I remember when the game was brand new in the arcades, spin moves were a completely new concept back then, and so everybody had to go on and find new combo staples for main characters. And that was very easy to do for Lars, Elisa, Miguel, but with Leo, I remember sitting in practice mode for a long time not being able to find anything to use for a reliable combo. Eventually, the community arrived at this combo as the sort of go-to staple of the character, and it's remained that pretty much ever since. Now, I'm not going to call this combo difficult to do, it isn't really, but it does have a little bit of a timing element to it. But then when you do it, you don't really get good damage, and there's no wall conversion potential unless you change the combo. It doesn't naturally carry to the wall, I should say. And I should also say that I think the damage was kind of low in Season 1. I think it's very low in Season 3. And it's interesting how the game has sort of generally moved to more combo damage, better wall conversions, higher wall conversion damage, and higher wall damage. And Leo seems to have been able to dodge all of those buffs pretty much like walking through a blizzard without being hit by a single snowflake. Now, there have been changes to the combo game, for example, this new wall staple, which is very good, but nothing that was powerful or dramatic enough to move the character away from this old, tired combo staple that I think most Leo players still use to this day. Combos aren't everything when you learn a new character. They're not all important, but they are a dramatic and fun part of the character. And so when you start with a new character and you're doing the combos, if they feel intuitive or fun to do or really powerful, I think that's something that creates a response in you where you want to play that character more. And this combo, in my opinion, is just kind of a big turnoff for most people. Another really interesting aspect of Leo's design is that, much like Gigas, we sort of know what the design philosophy was when the developers made the character. With Gigas, they said that they wanted to make a character that was scary to block against, and with Leo, they've said that the plan was to make a character that anybody could appreciate. So no matter your personality, no matter your skill level, you should be able to enjoy playing Leo. And I think they nailed that, at least when the character first came out in season, or in Tekken 6, not season 6, in Tekken 6. But these days, I honestly think that this character is kind of advanced. People talk a lot about how Tekken 7 has dumbed the game down a bit. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I will say that these days, compared to especially most new characters, Leo has a lot of learning that you have to do, and sort of important Tekken staple things that I think a lot of new players tend to skip these days because they don't have to worry about it that much anymore. Stuff like the difference between a crouch dash 2 and a crouch dash while standing 2, and something like a hit confirming, a wall splat, stuff like that. There are technical aspects to this character that used to be, stuff that you started out learning when you play the game, but now I think some people just skip those hurdles. At least that's an impression that I have. And so I think the character is not very basic and not super easy to use, not super difficult either, but you can push the skill ceiling of this character extremely high. And because so few players actually use her, few people do that and get that far. But if you want to get very good at, doing this move and then crouch canceling into another one, kind of like that, but doing it very fast to create long combos, that can become extremely powerful, but it's very difficult to do. If you want to become extremely good at clutch instant while standing 3, you can all of a sudden open up combo options that don't exist otherwise. I think this is an example of that. For example, this one. This move right here, that can turn into a combo if you're able to do that. If you're very good at super clutch micro dashing, you can turn a dash 1 into a full combo after a magic 4, for example. So There are a bunch of things with this character where if you want to get super technical and go deep in practice mode, you can push the skill ceiling very high. But at a basic level, I think it's at least an intermediate level character. Okay, let's talk about some of the moves, some of the punishment, some of the cool reasons why this character is fun. For the 10 frame, you have a 1-4. The 1 jab by itself is very nice. It's got good range and a big instep. So this is very good for just a 1 jab and a poke. And then the extension here is 24 damage plus 5 on hit. So, you know, not too dramatic, but definitely not bad either. And then for 11, you have 2-2. Not all characters have an 11, but this is a really good 11. 29, I think, is big. For 13, you get a powerful long-range knockdown move that you can use for whiffs and for minus 13 block punishment. This is also one of your best wall carry options. I think it's good enough that we should be able to carry wall to wall on this stage right here. I'm going to try it. Let's see if I can pull it off first time. Probably not. One more time. And one more time. There it is. And you can see that gave me 68, and with that wall combo option, a guaranteed 16 on top of that. So pretty good damage. That is the highest damage option for a wall combo. But this is a fantastic move. Good range, and I think the best wall carry option that you have, unless I've missed something. Moving on to 15, you have an amazing launcher in the shape of Down 4-2. And this is sort of a cousin of Jack's Down 4-2, where it's known for its amazing range, and it sort of makes the character want to specialize in moving around and being agile, and then with punishing with this. It is punishable, but it also has amazing range and is very good. So the combo that it leads to is not super powerful, but the launcher itself is very, very good. And then for while standing, welcome to pretty much the most powerful while standing launcher in the game, more or less. I mean, for 11 frames, the only thing I think that can even compete with this would be like 2D characters canceling down jabs into specials. But for your while standing 4 to be a 34 damage move with knockdown and wall splat, if you have a little bit of distance from the wall, it's just insanely, insanely powerful. It's such an interesting standout characteristic of the character, and I think it's an area where you can push a move to go far beyond the conventions of Tekken and still have the character be very balanced. You know, with for example, standard launchers, you don't want to create a character that can just do a 12 frame move that leads to a full combo on normal hit. But with this, you know, a while standing 11 frame move, I think you can push the limit and create an interesting strength of a character. And so if you're very good at blocking fast and seeable lows, which is again hard to do, I mean, if you want to optimize this character, it takes some skill, but you're able to get this every time, unless they're using like a safe low, which is very rare, and it's so powerful. So what a great move. Use it for pretty much everything unless you want to launch, and you have while standing 2 for that. So good punishment, fun to use. Easy to use, but you know, some really cool flavor to it as well. Really like it. You do have a hop kick, forgot to mention that. That's great. It's not as good for range as this, but it does give you a little bit more damage, and of course it has the low crush, which is the main draw of the move. General pokes with the character, I think you do very good. Your down forward one it's nice. It's got a little bit of a twitch to it and a weird animation. It kind of slows down and then speeds up, but it's very good. Does its job admirably for lows. This is great for a low poke if you don't need high crush. You have a falling leaf, of course, for the big low. This is, unlike Lei, you do need a clean hit for this to knock down. But when it does, it's just amazingly powerful and a very scary mix-up low. So you do have access to that. Very good. Empowers your mids, you know, when you're mixing, of course. I think your counter hits are also exceptional with this character. We mentioned that the Magic 4 requires like a really clutch dash jab to be able to turn into a full combo, which is difficult, but you have other good counter hit moves with the character. I think the best one might actually be this down one right here. This is 18 frames to impact, so a little bit on the slow side, but the range is just amazing. Very, very good. Easy to set up, and you can use it from way downtown. And then you just carry with, or pick up with a little down forward one right there. And you're able to go into all of your combo staples. So very easy to use, cool, powerful. This move was turned into a counter hit launcher as well. It used to be knockdown normal hit. It's not anymore, but now it's combo on counter hit. And you have to do, you can do a while standing 3, but it becomes a little bit easier if you actually do an input of quarter circle forward 3 from full crouch to get that to work. It's only inconsistent, I think, on Heihachi because his bald head is weird somehow and messes up the combo. But really cool move. It's also a combo filler for the character these days. Should we move on and talk about combos? Well, I'll mention first of all that I think your crouch dash is actually very good with this character. I think it's got a nice animation, but also the moves that come out. The 3 is great. You have access to your amazing while standing 4 for a mid out of this. This 2 is great. There's a 2-1 here. Either hit on counter hit will allow you for 4-4-3 into guaranteed Bokuho 2, which is just very powerful, and I think a staple strategy of the character. Because these moves are sort of safe, you can use this to sort of, you know, fish for hits with the character from relative safety, and I think that time I think I got it right. You can fish for that from relative safety. You can even go into King K here if you want to do like sneaky stuff. It's got a little bit of a back step to it, but yeah, the crouch dash is really cool as well, really powerful. And like I said, knowing the difference between a quarter circle move and a quarter circle move into a while standing move, I think is important with the character. You use it for mix up sometimes. Let's talk about combos. So I showed you the combo staple earlier, but I think if I was in the open with this character and I wasn't looking for the walls, if I was on like a wall-less stage, I would honestly probably go to this. That's not the one. Like that. That gives you 57, which is 1 damage off the standard staple, which is 58. But it's just a nice, easy little combo to do, and I love ending combos with this while standing for 1+2 because it's such a fun move. It just feels great when it connects, you know. So that's a recommendation, but there are a lot of options you can use for this character, and they will all land you between sort of 56 and 59. I think if you want to get 59, the thing you have to do, I don't know if I remember this combo. Let's try it a couple of times and see if it's still there. Yeah, there it is. You have to do that ender, which is not super easy because the start of the first hit, this hit, is back forward 1+2, which can be difficult to do after a deep dash and stuff like that. But it is one of your best wall combos with the character. So let's try and show that and talk a little bit about wall combos. This is where you've seen some buffs and some improvements with the character over the seasons. So delaying that, I didn't do the proper amount of delay right there. There it is. It will give you, I think, your highest damage staple for any wall splat where the opponent is falling forwards like this and not sliding down the wall. If they're sliding down the wall, then the option I showed you earlier with the 4-4-3 and then into a guaranteed Bokuho 2 is the highest damage option. But I think this is the best option for other wall splats. And then you have, I mean, because this can be clunky to do, you have easier options. The old staple is this, which still works. Didn't finish it, but this is... I don't love this for some reason. It feels weird to me. Let's do it again. Oh, right. You can't do it with 3+4. You have to... There it is. For 52 right here. I think the better option of the new move that they've given you that I think is just a much, much better go-to step because it's so reliable and you recover so much faster that the Oki becomes powerful as the exact same option, but then the... Kinke 1+2 for the extensions. This is a back 1-4 1+2. Very easy to do. You can run in from way downtown and get this reliably. You lose 1 point of damage, but you do get very good Oki. So I think it's the most intuitive, easy to use, and good wall ender for the character these days. It just is a little bit of a shame that they didn't give it more damage. It could have been a little bit more powerful in my opinion. I mean, if you wanted to change this character and make it more appealing to more people, I think really the main thing would be change the combos to be, if not more intuitive and easy to do. If you don't want to do that, I can definitely respect that, but maybe give them just a little bit more damage. The easiest way would be to just stick a couple points more damage on the go-to launchers like this move, and this move, or just stick a bit more damage on the spin moves. I mean, this move, for example, is like barely used for spins. If that did more damage and was the go-to spin move for the character, that could be an interesting option to explore. But I think it's really fun to combo with the character. You can do all kinds of weird little conversions, and you have really great, specifically wall carry. You can carry really far with the character thanks to this fantastic crouch dash and the fantastic crouch dash 3. You can just do multiples of these in combos like this, and just carry really far. Like that, see, really healthy stuff. But it does take some work. It is a little bit of a practice mode character, but fantastic. I think this design appeals to people who really love classic Tekken. I remember one of the first like character guides I ever watched when I started Tekken was on Leo. And I remember the people who made it were talking about how she's like classic Tekken. Crouch dash and hit confirms and down forward ones and block punishment and movements and whiff punishers and just the classic fundamental stuff. If you can get good at that and you're, you know, nimble and you spend a lot of time on the character, I think it is probably a very high tier character. Honestly, not one of the best in the game, but definitely not low tier either. Just requires a level of commitment that I think the character deserves but tends not to get. So if you can get over the fact that the combos aren't very palatable, there's just a complete treasure of a character to explore here. And I think seeing more Leo specialists on the competitive circuit would make me very, very happy. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and that you enjoy this character. I'll see you guys again very soon.